Hello, everyone. Happy Halloween. It is October 31st. My birthday is tomorrow, and had a little bit of time, so I was going to make a quick video for you guys. And today, what we're going to be looking at is the best and worst wrestlers to do blank. So, we're going to be looking at a few different things. There's not that many, there's only six, and we're going to see who I think the best and worst are. So, first up, we have the best and worst at the WWE Championship. Now, a lot of people have said, there are a lot of obvious people for the worst. Jinder Mahal comes to mind. Kane comes to mind. But they at least, at bare minimum, had some sort of storyline involved. Unlike Rey Mysterio, who has the worst WWE title reign of all time. Now you might be thinking, what do you mean? It's Rey Mysterio. He's so good. He's, a Hall of Fame. How is he the worst? Well, I'm not looking at their whole career. I'm looking at just their reign or that event and what spiraled from it for a few of the later ones. And this title reign was the length of a Monday Night Raw. He won it at the beginning and he lost it at the end. So it was basically useless for John Cena to get another title reign. So really, really bad. On the other hand, the GOAT at WWE Championships is Randy Orton, of all people. I didn't think it was Cena because, again, I just don't like John Cena very much. Like, I can't fault him. He was an astounding champion. But Randy Orton, oh my gosh. Even the 2020 reign was like good. It was a good reign, which is weird. But I think all of his title reigns have at least been like good. They've had some story, and especially like heel 2009 Randy. Ooh, this man was cooking at everything he did. It did not matter who he was facing. Some of the greatest title runs of all time. And continuing with world championships, the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this one is for Ric Flair. It's the best picture I could find, but he's on neither of these. I think we all know who's the worst. It's the Great Khali. You're not that amazing if you hold the belt upside down when you win it, and that's what the Great Khali did. So he's not good. I don't want to elaborate. Nonetheless, the GOAT, this is pretty obvious. He's the consensus best one, longest reigning combined. The game, Triple H, I think he deserves it. He's got a bunch of reigns, good reigns, given it was the reign of terror. But nonetheless, won a few, like 6 elimination chambers, most of them around the World Heavyweight Championship. And even outside of the World Heavyweight Championship, I know I said I wasn't including that, but he's really good in really every facet of this company. Next up, we have the United States Championship. There are a lot of people who are pretty bad U.S. champions, but I didn't want to pick for this one because there's so many. I didn't want to pick anyone that had like an insanely short reign because, I did it for the WWE Championship because, that's a prestigious championship. That's not something to be tossed around. But for the U.S., I think, it's reasonable for someone to have like a multi-second reign or something like that. So I'm not going to do any like super short champions for either one, but I am going to say that Austin Theory had one of the worst U.S. title reigns recently of all time. Uh, I would also like to specify I'm going to be mentioning the specific reign or event that occurs in the case that they have done multiple. For example, for this one, it's his most recent one, the one that he just lost to Rey Mysterio, because he was just awful. They keep trying to make him look good, and he's a pretty good wrestler, but I just do not care. Tell me anything that happened other than something relating to John Cena, Bobby Lashley, or Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. Go. Nothing. Who knows? I have no idea what happened during this reign. Like, he was champion. I that's all I remember. He defended it at Backlash against like Bronson Reed and somebody else. I think it was Bobby. What happened during this reign? The best, on the other hand, this one is also a bit of a random one. You would assume it's John Cena, but again, I don't like putting John Cena on these because it's kind of the consensus pick for basically everything. So I actually ended up going with MVP. I think a lot of people have kind of realized he is the GOAT of U.S. title reigns. I obviously wasn't around in the 2000s, but I've heard it was really good, so I wanted to put him here. He had a couple reigns. He's in like the top 10 longest reigns or something like that. And I think he deserves it with his talent and his long tenure. Next up, we have Intercontinental. The best is really obvious because who could it be? But the worst, well, that's going to be going to Shane Douglas, the Dean. Technically, he was a champion, but it it doesn't really count to me. So he's the worst one. So let me give you the backstory here. So Shawn Michaels was set to face Shane Douglas at some In Your House event, but Shawn got injured earlier that week or month or something. So they just gave the belt to Dean so he could defend it against Razor Ramon, where he was supposed to challenge Shawn. I think it was In Your House 4. So, timeline. So, Shawn gets injured. Shane is supposed to fight Shawn, but Shawn's injured. So he gets the belt, loses it to Razor Ramon. A belt he never technically won, but just had. He lost immediately. It was maybe, I think, 10 minutes he was champ, maybe 20. Abysmal reign. But as I said, this one's really obvious. It's Gunther. And I don't really need to describe why. He has defended it very consistently. Not every pay per view. He hasn't defended it for quite a few pay per views at that. But his matches are almost always classics. He's had very few like letdowns. Unfortunately, the match with Drew at SummerSlam was a letdown. It was a great match, but way lower than our expectations. So, expectations aside, he hasn't really ever had a bad match with this belt. By the way, fun fact: Gunther slash Walter has been a champion in WWE longer than he's not been a champion in WWE. That's wild. Absolutely astounding. Now we're going to move on to like not titles, but things that are cool to have. So, first up, we're going to be looking at Money in the Bank. And the best Money in the Bank is hidden behind the Money in the Bank contract. Now, you can guess from this hairline who it is, but we're going to be looking at the worst first. That's Baron Corbin. The 2017 Money in the Bank. Tried to cash it in on, I believe, Jinder Mahal, who was having a match with John Cena, and then Jinder just rolled him up in like 10 seconds and beat him. Like, completely useless reign. Absolutely nothing. Braun Strowman was also in contention here, 2018, but I think Baron deserves the worst spot. But from the hairline, you could probably guess the best is Edge, specifically his first Money in the Bank, not the one he beat Mr. Kennedy for. It was, a new thing at the time, like, oh, what's this cool, weird cash-in thing? What is that? And, when it happened at New Year's Revolution 2006, it was so big for Edge. His first world title, and then he, had sex with Lita the next night. A little weird, but nonetheless cool. Next up, we're going to be moving on to the Royal Rumble. There were a lot of people that I could have put here. I didn't want to put anyone too old because, I don't know anything about him. But I put 2022 Brock Lesnar as the worst because multiple reasons. Didn't need it, didn't deserve it, only was the winner to challenge Roman and lose, eliminated Drew McIntyre, cleaned house like every Brock Lesnar Rumble. Boring. The Rumble match itself was awful as well, so he deserves it. Otherwise, the best was Stone Cold Steve Austin. As I mentioned before, Drew was honestly in contention in 2020, and I could have put him there, but I wanted to put Stone Cold because of the 1997 Royal Rumble. That's the one where he was eliminated, but nobody saw him get eliminated. Then he went back in, he eliminated Bret Hart, and the refs were like, "Oh, Austin's the last one. He wins." It was a lot of people think it's stupid. I think it's really funny, and the fact that he's won 3, I think it really cements him as the GOAT at Rumbles. Um, it it just seemed funny that the refs were just so distracted by just this brawl going on that Austin just cheated his way to a win. It's weird to me, but still fun. Lastly, we got King of the Ring. There are a lot of people who've won and a lot of people who have lost King of the Ring. But let's look at the best. It's going to be Mabel, of course, the GOAT at King of the Ring. Really had an amazing tournament in 1995 to win it, and then obviously challenging for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam really established him as a big star. I'm absolutely kidding. This man was absolutely atrocious. There was nothing good about this. Nothing good about it. He hurt Diesel at SummerSlam. He beat like Savio Vega in the finals in 1995. For those who don't watch wrestling, he's basically a nobody. Well, he's cool now, but then he was absolutely no one. Terrible, terrible booking. Didn't deserve it. Way too unprofessional. The GOAT, on the other hand, Stone Cold again. It's Stone Cold, 1996. I think he kind of proved himself. The whole Austin 316 promo. It's the greatest promo of all time, some may say. And I think he's really earned this positioning in my bracket. So, quick recap. The best and worst are Austin and Mabel. The best and worst are Austin and Lesnar, 2022. Best and worst are Edge and Corbin, or Adam Copeland and Corbin. The best and worst are Gunther and Shane Douglas. The best and worst are MVP and Austin Theory. The best and worst are Triple H and Great Khali. The best and worst are Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. So, what do you think? Do you think I missed out on anybody? If so, I don't know how I did. I actually really went through all the Wikipedia pages and cage match pages. But if I did, leave in the comments. Leave a like. Please don't leave a dislike. But low-key, it's an interaction. I'll take it. Repost, whatever. I don't really care anymore. Have a good day, good evening, good night, good morning, good dawn, good dusk, good whatever, and goodbye.